Hi guys, doing a review of the Centurion 7.1 today. I'm doing a review of this one, despite it being an old tank, just because Wargaming are re-adding the FV4202 back to tier 10. So I figured this review might be useful either for the people who haven't yet played this tank and are going to grind through it for the first time, or for the people who are going to re-grind it for the FV4202, as this tank has changed a couple of times over the years. It used to be pretty good with a decent turret, and then it got a HD update, which made it lose all its turret armor, and it was a pretty bad tank at that point. And now it has the turret armor back. It's a bit better than it used to be to be fair, and the tank also got a speed buff up to 50. Before I go into any more details with the tank goal, I just want to say a thank you to Easy Breezy TV. He's given me 5 codes, each for a month of premium time, and it's due to him doing that I can do this giveaway. The giveaways for reaching 200 subscribers. I want to say thanks to everyone who's subscribed already, and thanks to anyone new who watches my videos. I'm going to put a link in my description to Easy Breezy's channel, so you can have a watch of his content. It's really good. And I really appreciate him giving me these codes. It was extremely generous of him. I'd also quickly like to say a big thanks to the Turkey Tanker. He gave me a shout out in one of his videos recently on his OTTB. I'll put a link into his channels as well. Now, onto the tank. What you can expect from this is a fairly mobile medium tank. It goes about 50 kilometers. It's got rubbish hull armor, but a really decent turret and a really decent gun. It's got decent penetration, a decent amount of alpha damage, and amazing gun handling characteristics. This is one of my favourite guns in the game, to be fair. Well, it's one of my favourite tanks. You do have to keep the hull down because pretty much anything can pen the hull, but it's got 10 degrees of gun depression, so it can use ridges and any kind of depression in terrain really quite easily. I also managed to punch a hole in that M103 really quite easily there. The gun, it handles like a dream. Now, it's a bit peculiar when it comes to ammo. The standard shell is, well, it's regarded as APCR mechanic wise. It's actually a discarding sabot round. So that means you've got a very high shell velocity and really high penetration. It's 258, I believe. It might have been the 268. It's really quite high penetration. However, this tank doesn't get a heat or a premium ACPR shell. Instead, it gets 2 variations of HESH, a premium version and a non-premium version. The premium one, you get 210 mil of penetration on the shell, and about 105 to 110 on the cheap HESH, basically. The HESH works just like HE. Apart from it's got the high penetration, so you're going to pen things with it a lot more often, and 210 is quite a decent amount for a HESH shell. It's not as much as obviously the 183 gets, but you can still put it to really good use. When you do, the DPM of this tank goes through the roof, and a lot of people get caught off guard when you're suddenly hitting them for about 550 damage per shot. Now, regarding the hull armour on the tank, that's something you've really got to bear in mind. This isn't a brawler, it's a ridgeline support tank. I'm going to go around here a bit too far and give the M103 a shot on my hull, which he takes, it pens it with ease and damages my ammo rack. The ammo rack takes up most of that right hand side of the front, so any shots through the lower or the upper plate on that side, well, left hand side now, are going to do a lot of damage. Because obviously if you get hit in your ammo rack, you're going to lose some time on your reload, and the reload on this tank isn't great. It does a decent amount of alpha. My reload time is about 8.8 seconds, I believe, but I am running food. So that's something else you've got to bear in mind. You don't want to get into a fight with a T-54, for instance, at close range, because he's going to beat your reload every time. Now here, I'm using the terrain so I can keep my hull hidden, as you can see there when I'm side on, by the angle of the gun. The tanks I'm shooting at aren't currently looking at me, but I'm still making sure just to be careful, because I don't want them looking at me, because they'll just be able to snapshot a shell straight through my hull. Now the tank's fairly mobile, as you can see. It's not an extremely fast medium, its mobility is just decent enough, really. Tanks like a T10 can keep up with you, but you're going to outrun an E75, thankfully. This tank didn't used to be able to do that. Now here I'm just going to put some shots into these guys at the side. See, here is where I should have loaded HESH. One of the ways to really do well with this tank is knowing when to fire the APDS shells and when to fire the HESH. If you want to make the most out of it, you'll find yourself switching shell types quite a lot. I was being a bit lazy in this game, but in games where people are doing a lot of damage, you'll see them making good use of the HESH, so it's worth bringing a fair few of them. I've obviously got 15 of the premium and 7 of the cheap, but I might even up the count to 20. Now, nearly killed myself there going down a hill because apparently doing that's too difficult for me. As you can see, I'm driving in all kinds of terrain there, and the tank's still managing to maintain a decent pace. I'm going to crash into a teammate in a second. I do make sure to apologise. I honestly just didn't see him at all. I mustn't have been paying attention enough. It is quite a big tank, like I say. This was a decent enough damage game. It was over pretty quickly. I had a few other games, I wasn't sure which one to upload, but all of them were over pretty quick. This is a tank that I find is able to rack up pretty decent damage, yeah, fairly easily. It's mainly due to this gun, I believe. I'd say it's definitely one of the best tier 9 mediums in the game. T-54 probably rivals it, but I prefer the gun depression of this tank and the fact it doesn't have to spam heat like the T-54 does. Now, I'll take us back to the garage in a minute. I'll bring up the stat screen so you can have a look at that. Another thing worth bearing in mind with the tank is it gets 410 metres view range, which is quite a lot, to be honest. Due to that, I've got a gun rammer, vertical stabiliser and vents. Because I've got a decent crew, my view range is maxed out without needing optics. But they are there as an option if you want to reduce the camo factor of things like a Borsig and stuff like that. But like I say, I've gone with the vents because I prefer getting that reload down a little bit more because it's quite long. Just while I'm here, I picked this up the other day. I'll do a review on this one fairly soon. It's an interesting tank. I don't typically like the mercenary tanks, but that one's quite fun. Right, now my camo ran out in between doing the video. So that's what it looks like without it. And I'll go have a look at that stat page for you. It is a nice looking tank, I'm quite fond of this one. When it comes to upgrading it, you want this central package. The other two aren't quite as good. I'm hoping the 4202 is going to branch off this one. But there's the stats for you. Feel free to pause it if you want to have a longer look at those. Shows you the gun handling, view range and that. All pretty good. Now the 4202 is just going to branch from down below the Centurion Action X here. Like I said, I imagine off this central package, you're probably going to need about 180k XP, I believe. But we'll find out, I guess, when they add it. Right, thanks for watching guys, I really appreciate it. I'll announce the winners for the giveaway in about a week, next Tuesday, so people get, plenty of time to enter. Thanks again.